The asteroid belt of the Sol system had always been more than just a collection of space rocks. For those who knew where to look, it was a canvas of human potential, a hidden workshop where the most extraordinary technological revolution in galactic history was taking shape. Deep within a hollowed-out asteroid nearly 50 kilometers in diameter, the Starforge project pulsed with an energy that defied conventional understanding. Massive holographic displays lined the central chamber, each one a window into a design that would rewrite the rules of space engineering. Quantum processors hummed with a low, almost sentient vibration, processing calculations so complex that traditional computers would have required millennia to complete. Director Sarah Chen stood at the epicenter of this technological marvel, her eyes reflecting the intricate schematics that danced around her. She wasn't just an administrator. She was a visionary who understood that humanity's survival depended on thinking beyond existing limitations. The global governments had initially balked at the project's unprecedented scale and astronomical budget, but recent deep space encounters had changed everything. Structural integrity at 99.7%, announced Dr. Michael Rodriguez, the lead materials engineer. His fingers danced across a holographic interface, manipulating molecular structures with the precision of a surgeon. The adaptive nanolattice is performing beyond our most optimistic projections. The ship taking shape before them was more than a mere spacecraft. It was a living system designed to adapt, learn, and survive in the most hostile environments imaginable. Traditional spacecraft were rigid, vulnerable machines. This was different. Each microscopic component contained adaptive cells that could reconfigure themselves in milliseconds, healing damage, changing shape, and responding to threats in ways no alien technology could comprehend. A team of quantum physicists worked alongside material scientists, computational experts, and aerospace engineers. Their collaboration represented the best of human interdisciplinary thinking. Where alien civilizations specialized and stratified, humans broke down barriers, finding innovative solutions at the intersection of different fields of knowledge. Energy distribution network is stable, called out Dr. Elena Thompson, her voice cutting through the background hum of advanced machinery. We've successfully integrated the quantum entanglement communication matrix. No external signal can penetrate or disrupt our systems. The ship's defensive capabilities were revolutionary. Traditional shields were static barriers that could be overwhelmed. This new design used active camouflage and quantum displacement, allowing the entire vessel to partially shift out of standard spacetime when threatened. It wasn't just defense, it was a complete reimagining of spatial interaction. Nearby, a group of veteran space combat strategists analyzed potential threat scenarios. Military experts from different branches worked alongside scientists, bringing practical combat experience to the theoretical designs. They understood that technological superiority meant nothing without the right strategic application. The Trilaxian long-range scanning technologies won't even register us as a significant threat, remarked Commander Jack Harrison, a veteran of early deep space encounters. They're looking for massive energy signatures. Traditional weapon systems. We're building something entirely different. The project's secrecy was maintained through a complex network of misdirection. To the outside world, this was just another research facility studying asteroid composition. Only a select few understood the true nature of what was being created here, a technological leap that would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. Sarah Chen approached a massive transparent section of the facility's wall. Beyond it, the partially completed spacecraft gleamed with an otherworldly precision. Its surface seemed to shimmer and shift, even at rest, a living testament to human ingenuity. "We're not just building a ship," she murmured, more to herself than to anyone else. "We're creating a message, a statement about what humanity can achieve when we stop limiting ourselves." The quantum processors continued their silent dance, weaving together a future where humanity would no longer be viewed as a minor species, but as a force of technological and strategic brilliance that would reshape the understanding of spacefaring civilizations. In the heart of the asteroid belt, the future was being constructed, one impossible innovation at a time. The void of space near the Proxima Centauri colony shimmered with an ominous presence. Commander Vortak of the Trilaxian Expeditionary Fleet surveyed the human settlement with a mixture of contempt and calculated precision. His dreadnought, the Stellar Dominance *, stretched nearly 20 kilometers in length, a monument to galactic conquests that had subdued countless civilizations. Intelligence reports had painted humans as a fractured, primitive species. Their planetary communications were a chaotic mess of competing signals, their technological development seemingly disjointed and inefficient. Vortak had led conquest missions against dozens of star systems, and this would be no different. Just another quick subjugation to expand the Trilaxian territorial claims. Scanning human colonies, reported Sub-Commander Zex, his tentacle-like appendages dancing across the holographic interface. Detecting minimal defensive capabilities. Energy signatures are remarkably low. Recommend immediate invasion protocol. Vortak allowed himself a slight gesture of satisfaction. The human colonies appeared defenseless, scattered settlements with primitive shield technologies, and what seemed to be rudimentary space defense systems. His fleet of 500 advanced battlecruisers could neutralize the entire human presence in less than in standard planetary rotation. What the Trilaxian commander didn't realize was that humanity had been watching. Every sensor, every communication channel, every quantum-encrypted network was already analyzing the incoming threat with a precision that would soon shatter everything Vortak understood about warfare. The first indication that something was wrong came subtly. A slight irregularity in the Trilaxian fleet's navigational systems. Sub-Commander Zex frowned, recalibrating the ship's primary guidance matrix. "Commander, we're experiencing minor quantum interference in our navigation arrays." Vortak dismissed the concern with a wave of his appendage. "Continue approach vector. Prepare initial bombardment sequence." But the quantum interference was anything but minor. Unbeknownst to the Trilaxian fleet, they were already caught in a complex web of computational warfare, unlike anything in galactic military history. Each of their supposedly impenetrable systems was being systematically deconstructed, analyzed, and manipulated by human computational networks that operated on principles the Trilaxians couldn't comprehend. On the lead human defense platform, a team of specialists worked with an almost musical precision. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched multiple holographic displays, her fingers moving in intricate gestures that seemed to conduct an invisible orchestra of technological intervention. "Primary navigation systems compromised," announced Lieutenant Marcus Chen, initiating quantum entanglement disruption protocol. The attack, when it came, wasn't a traditional military strike. It was a sophisticated digital assault that simultaneously targeted every critical system of the Trilaxian fleet. Navigation computers began broadcasting contradictory coordinates. Communication networks turned into channels of pure noise. Defensive shield generators started cycling through impossible configurations. Vortak watched in growing horror as his massive fleet began to lose cohesion. Ships that moments ago had been a precise, coordinated formation now drifted erratically. Their weapon systems became unpredictable, some firing randomly, others going completely dark. "Impossible!" he roared, his universal translator conveying a mix of rage and disbelief. "Implement emergency combat protocols." But there were no protocols for what was happening. The human response defied every known military doctrine. It wasn't about destruction, it was about complete systemic disruption. The Trilaxian fleet was being unmade, not through conventional weapons, but through a level of technological manipulation that seemed to border on the miraculous. Within minutes, what had been a seemingly invincible invasion force became nothing more than drifting debris. Not a single human vessel had fired a traditional weapon. The battle had been won through pure computational warfare, a demonstration of technological capability that would send shockwaves through the galactic community. As the last Trilaxian ship lost power, a single encrypted message broadcast across multiple frequencies. It was simple, yet laden with profound implication. Diplomatic contact is preferred. Aggression is not recommended. The galaxy would never be the same again. The research facility beneath the Atacama Desert was a temple of human innovation, far removed from the public eye. Here, Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a holographic representation of what would become the most revolutionary spacecraft design in galactic history. Her team represented the pinnacle of interdisciplinary collaboration: quantum physicists working alongside materials engineers, computational experts conversing with xenobiological researchers. The key, Elena explained to her core team, is understanding that we're not building a machine. We're creating a living system. The breakthrough came from an unexpected convergence of scientific disciplines. Quantum computing, nanomaterial engineering, and adaptive biological systems had reached a critical point of intersection. Traditional spacecraft were rigid, predictable, essentially floating batteries with limited defensive capabilities. The human approach would be fundamentally different. Dr. Michael Chen, a senior materials engineer, pointed to a complex molecular diagram. Our adaptive nanolattice isn't just a material. It's a computational network with its own form of distributed intelligence. Each microscopic component contained quantum-entangled cells capable of instantaneous reconfiguration. Damage to the ship wasn't just repairable. It was something the vessel could actively predict and prevent. The team had drawn inspiration from the most unexpected sources: marine ecosystems with their complex adaptive networks, immune systems that could recognize and neutralize threats, neurological networks that could rewire themselves. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to learn, to adapt, to survive. And now they were engineering that principle into their most advanced technology. Look at how coral reefs respond to environmental changes. Dr. Sarah Williams, a marine biologist turned spacecraft engineer, would often say, "They don't just survive. They transform themselves." This philosophy became the cornerstone of their design approach. The computational core of the spacecraft was unlike anything in known space. Traditional alien technologies relied on centralized processing systems, a single point of failure that could be knocked out with a precise strike. The human design was a distributed network, with computational capabilities spread throughout the entire vessel. Each microscopic component could process information, make decisions, and adapt in milliseconds. Quantum entanglement played a crucial role. The ship's communication systems could transmit information faster than light, creating a network that was essentially telepathic. If one section of the ship was damaged, the entire vessel would instantly redistribute resources, reconfigure defensive capabilities, and develop counter-strategies. "We're essentially creating an organism," Dr. Rodriguez would explain during rare briefings to military leadership. "Not a weapon, but a living, thinking system that can survive and thrive in the most hostile environments imaginable." The energy systems were equally revolutionary. Where alien civilizations relied on massive fusion reactors or exotic matter generators, the human design harvested energy from multiple sources: quantum vacuum energy, cosmic radiation, even the kinetic impact of micrometeorites. Everything became a potential power source. Defensive capabilities went beyond traditional shield technologies. The ship could partially shift out of standard space-time when threatened, making traditional weapons essentially useless. Incoming projectiles would pass through empty space where the vessel had been milliseconds before. "It's not about stopping an attack," Michael Chen would explain. "It's about not being where the attack is directed in the first place." The most brilliant aspect of the design was its learning capability. Each encounter, each potential threat, would be instantly analyzed and integrated into the ship's operational matrix. What worked in one situation would be immediately shared across the entire fleet through quantum communication networks. During one of their final design reviews, Elena Rodriguez looked at her team with a mixture of scientific excitement and profound understanding. "We're not just building a spacecraft," she said. "We're creating the first truly living technology. A system that doesn't just respond to the universe, it understands it." The scientific community would later call it the most significant technological leap in human history. But in that moment, it was simply the result of human curiosity, collaboration, and an unyielding belief that there are no true limitations, only challenges waiting to be solved. The bridge of the U.S. horizon hummed with a unique energy that defied traditional military protocols. Captain Marcus Rodriguez moved with a fluidity that seemed more like a conductor leading an orchestra than a traditional naval commander. Around him, a diverse team of specialists worked in perfect synchronization, their movements almost telepathic in their precision. The Battle of Proxima Centauri would become a legendary moment in military history, not for its destruction, but for its unprecedented display of strategic creativity. Facing a numerically superior alien fleet from the Krelvax Dominion, the human squadron represented something far more than a military force. They were living proof that warfare was as much about psychology as it was about technology. "Incoming threat vector," announced Lieutenant Sarah Chen, her fingers dancing across a holographic interface that seemed to breathe with living information. Krelvax battle formation is traditional linear attack pattern. Predictability is their weakness. Marcus nodded, a slight smile playing at the corner of his mouth. The alien fleet approaching them represented centuries of established military doctrine, rigid, mathematically precise, utterly convinced of their tactical superiority. They saw warfare as a series of calculated probabilities, a chess game played with massive starships. Humans saw it differently. The first phase of their strategy wasn't about combat. It was about communication, or more precisely, miscommunication. Quantum encrypted signals began broadcasting across multiple frequencies, each message a carefully constructed puzzle designed to confuse and disorient the Krelvax fleet's coordination systems. Navigation computers on alien ships began receiving conflicting coordinate data. Communication networks became flooded with seemingly random information packets that looked like legitimate strategic communications. The Krelvax commanders watched in growing confusion as their perfectly organized battle formation began to lose cohesion. "Holographic projection active," called out Lieutenant Elena Martinez. Multiple false ship signatures began appearing across the battle space, each one a complex computational illusion designed to split the alien fleet's attention and computational resources. Where traditional military thinking saw warfare as a linear progression of attack and defense, the human approach was fluid, adaptive, almost improvisational. Each ship in the human squadron moved less like a rigid machine and more like a living organism, changing formation with a speed and creativity that defied conventional understanding. The Krelvax had conquered dozens of star systems using a military doctrine that had remained essentially unchanged for millennia. Their ships were massive, powerful, designed to overwhelm through sheer destructive potential. They understood warfare as a mathematical equation. Superior numbers plus superior firepower equaled victory. Humans rewrote that equation entirely. Captain Rodriguez watched the holographic battle representation, his mind processing multiple potential scenarios simultaneously. The human ships weren't just avoiding enemy fire. They were performing an intricate dance, each movement designed to expose weaknesses, to confuse, to transform the very nature of the engagement. "Quantum displacement field activated," announced the ship's computational core. Sections of the human fleet would momentarily shift out of standard spacetime, rendering incoming weapon systems completely ineffective. It wasn't about blocking attacks. It was about making those attacks irrelevant. The psychological impact was profound. The Krelvax fleet, so confident in their tactical superiority, found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to exist between possible realities. Traditional targeting systems became useless. Communication networks collapsed under the weight of deliberate computational noise. What began as a seemingly straightforward military engagement transformed into something else entirely. A demonstration of how technological innovation, combined with creative thinking, could completely redefine the concept of warfare. As the battle concluded, not a single human vessel had been damaged. The Krelvax fleet, once a symbol of galactic military might, was reduced to drifting, confused ships, their entire tactical understanding shattered. Captain Rodriguez looked out at the starfield, understanding that they had done more than win a battle. They had sent a message to the galaxy about the true nature of human potential. Warfare would never be the same again. The Galactic Technology Summit had never witnessed anything like this presentation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before representatives from dozens of advanced civilizations, her holographic display revealing layers of technological innovation that challenged everything they understood about space exploration and warfare. What humanity had created was more than a technological breakthrough. It was a fundamental reimagining of how technology could interact with the universe itself. The adaptive network system of human starships represented a quantum leap in technological design that left alien scientists both terrified and awestruck. Traditional technology is static, Elena explained, her voice calm and precise. Our approach is fundamentally different. We don't create machines. We cultivate living systems. The core of human technological innovation lay in its unprecedented approach to computational design. Where alien civilizations saw technology as a tool to be controlled, humans viewed it as a collaborative partner capable of continuous evolution. Each starship was essentially a massive, self-improving computational organism. Dr. Michael Chen, standing beside Elena, demonstrated the adaptive network's capabilities. A holographic representation showed a starship's molecular structure dynamically shifting, healing damage, and reconfiguring itself in real time. It wasn't just repair, it was active transformation. The key breakthrough came from an unexpected combination of disciplines. Quantum computing merged with adaptive biological principles, creating a technological approach that blurred the lines between machine and living organism. Each microscopic component contained quantum-entangled cells with distributed intelligence, capable of making instantaneous decisions. Imagine an immune system, Michael explained, but for an entire spacecraft. Not just responding to threats, but anticipating them, learning from them, evolving with each encounter. The fleet-wide learning network was perhaps the most revolutionary aspect. When one human vessel encountered a new challenge, that information was instantaneously shared across the entire fleet through quantum communication channels. What worked in one engagement became integrated into the operational matrix of every other ship within milliseconds. This was fundamentally different from alien technological approaches. The Zornak Collective, known for their advanced technological capabilities, relied on centralized design protocols. Their ships were precise, powerful, but ultimately rigid. A weakness discovered in one vessel remained a vulnerability until manually updated across the entire fleet. Human technology turned this concept on its head. Each ship was both an individual and part of a collective intelligence. Computational resources were distributed, making the entire system incredibly resilient. Damage to one section didn't compromise the whole. It became a learning opportunity. Energy systems demonstrated this adaptive principle perfectly. Where traditional spacecraft relied on fixed power generation methods, human ships harvested energy from multiple sources simultaneously. Cosmic radiation, quantum vacuum fluctuations, even the kinetic impact of micrometeorites became potential power sources. During a classified demonstration, a test vessel deliberately took simulated damage. The response was nothing short of miraculous. Damaged sections rapidly reconfigured, redistributing computational and energy resources. Weapon systems adapted, defensive capabilities transformed. It wasn't repair, it was active evolution. We're not just building technology. Elena would often say, we're creating a dialogue with the universe itself. The implications extended far beyond military applications. Medical researchers saw potential for adaptive treatment systems. Planetary colonization teams recognized the revolutionary potential for self-sustaining infrastructure. Exploratory missions could now venture into environments previously considered impossible to navigate. Alien technological experts struggled to comprehend the human approach. Their entire understanding of technological design was based on control, on rigid systems that followed predetermined protocols. Humanity introduced a concept of technology as a living, learning entity. During a private briefing, A senior Galactic Council representative admitted something unprecedented. "We've always viewed technological advancement as a linear progression," he confided. "Humans have shown us it's more of a living ecosystem." As the presentation concluded, the representatives from various star systems sat in stunned silence. What they had witnessed was more than a technological breakthrough. It was a fundamental reimagining of humanity's potential. The stars would never look the same again. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the holographic recordings played. Delegates from across known space watched in stunned disbelief as human starships demonstrated capabilities that defied every established principle of space warfare and technological design. Admiral Helena Rodriguez stood before the council, her presence calm and deliberate. She represented something far more than a military leader. She was a living embodiment of humanity's unprecedented approach to technological and strategic innovation. The Battle of the Epsilon Cluster had become the defining moment that shattered centuries of galactic military doctrine. What began as a standard defensive engagement transformed into a masterclass of adaptive warfare that left even the most advanced alien civilizations questioning everything they understood about military strategy. "We don't fight wars," Helena explained, her voice steady. "We solve complex problems in real time." The recording showed human ships that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Traditional weapon systems would pass through empty space where a vessel had been milliseconds before. Defensive capabilities transformed with such rapid complexity that alien targeting systems became completely useless. The Krelvax military analysts, once considered the most sophisticated strategic minds in the galaxy, struggled to comprehend what they were witnessing. Their entire approach to warfare, mathematically precise, rigidly structured, had been completely dismantled by an opponent that treated combat as a dynamic, living system. Dr. Michael Chen, the lead technological strategist, had developed an approach that merged quantum physics, adaptive biology, and computational theory in ways no civilization had ever conceived. Each human starship was less a machine and more a living organism, capable of learning, adapting, and evolving in real time. During the Epsilon engagement, a human squadron of just 12 vessels neutralized a Krelvax battle group consisting of over 200 advanced warships. But it wasn't through superior firepower or traditional combat tactics. The human ships had essentially rendered the entire enemy fleet tactically irrelevant. Communication networks were simultaneously flooded and disrupted. Navigation systems received conflicting quantum-encrypted signals that caused complete operational breakdown. Defensive capabilities became useless as human vessels shifted between possible realities, existing in states that defied conventional understanding of spatial mechanics. "Our technology doesn't compete," Chen would later explain. "It collaborates. It transforms the entire nature of the engagement." The galactic military academies found their centuries of strategic learning suddenly obsolete. Entire libraries of tactical doctrine became nothing more than historical curiosities. Humanity had not just introduced a new method of warfare, they had fundamentally redefined the concept of strategic engagement. What truly terrified the alien civilizations was the speed of human technological evolution. Where other species required decades or centuries to make significant technological advancements, humans seemed to innovate in real time. Each encounter became an immediate learning opportunity, with technological improvements shared instantaneously across their entire fleet. The Zornak Collective, known for their technological superiority, watched the recordings with a mixture of horror and reluctant admiration. Their rigid hierarchical approach to technological development had always been their greatest strength. Now it became their most significant weakness. During a closed-door session, a senior Zornak strategic analyst made a profound observation. "They don't see technology as a tool," he said quietly. "They see it as a living conversation with the universe itself." The human approach challenged fundamental assumptions about technological development. Innovation was no longer a linear progression, but a dynamic, adaptive ecosystem. Each challenge became an opportunity for immediate transformation. Admiral Rodriguez's final statement to the Galactic Council resonated with profound simplicity. "We're not here to conquer," she explained. "We're here to demonstrate that limitations are often just unexplored possibilities." As the recordings concluded, the delegates from various star systems sat in stunned silence. What they had witnessed was more than a military demonstration. It was a fundamental reimagining of technological potential. The stars would never look the same again. The conference hall on the neutral diplomatic station orbiting Gamma Proxima was unlike any previous gathering in galactic history. Representatives from over 40 star-faring civilizations sat in a circular arrangement, their traditional hostile postures replaced by an unprecedented sense of uncertainty and curiosity. At the center of the room stood Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Chief Diplomatic Strategist for Human Interstellar Relations. She represented something far more complex than a traditional ambassador. She was a bridge between humanity's technological revolution and the established galactic order. "We're not here to dominate," Elena began, her voice calm and measured. "We're here to redefine what cooperation means." The events of the past solar cycles had fundamentally altered the galactic power structure. Humanity's technological capabilities had exposed critical vulnerabilities in established civilizations. The Krelvax Dominion, once considered an unassailable military power, had been strategically neutralized without a single human casualty. The Zornak Collective found their centuries-old technological superiority suddenly obsolete. What truly surprised the diplomatic representatives was humanity's approach to this newfound power. Instead of demanding territorial expansions or imposing harsh conditions, humans proposed something radical: collaborative technological development. Dr. Michael Chen, standing beside Elena, demonstrated adaptive technology that could revolutionize planetary infrastructure, medical systems, and space exploration. Each presentation was less a display of power and more an invitation to collective problem-solving. The Galactic Concordance had always been a delicate balance of military might and diplomatic maneuvering. Civilizations maintained peace through a complex web of threat and counter-threat. Humanity introduced a completely different paradigm, one where technological innovation became a form of diplomatic currency. Ambassador Clyrix of the Viridian Stellar Confederation approached the human delegation during a recess. "We do not understand your motivation," he admitted, his translator conveying a mixture of confusion and genuine curiosity. "Every species we have encountered seeks expansion. You offer collaboration." Elena's response was characteristic of the new human approach. "Our greatest resource is our ability to solve problems," she explained. "Expansion isn't about territory, it's about understanding." The technological demonstrations were extraordinary. Adaptive medical systems that could rapidly respond to planetary health crises, energy generation technologies that could transform struggling ecosystems, communication networks that could bridge linguistic and cultural barriers with unprecedented efficiency. What truly terrified the established galactic powers was humanity's approach to technological sharing. Where other civilizations hoarded technological advances, humans proposed open-source development. Each breakthrough became a collaborative opportunity, not a weapon of control. During a closed-session presentation, human scientists revealed technologies that could solve fundamental challenges facing multiple civilizations: planetary climate stabilization, deep space communication improvements, adaptive medical technologies that could address genetic challenges across different species. The Galactic Council's senior strategists struggled to comprehend this approach. Their entire understanding of interstellar relations was based on a zero-sum model of power and influence. Humanity introduced a revolutionary concept: collective advancement. "We are not exceptional," Dr. Rodriguez would explain in her keynote address. "We are simply committed to seeing challenges as opportunities for collective growth." The diplomatic landscape transformed rapidly. Species that had been historical enemies found themselves collaborating on human-initiated research projects. Technological barriers that had existed for centuries began to crumble. Ambassador Sarah Chen of the Earth Diplomatic Corps captured the sentiment perfectly in a private briefing. "Our technology is an invitation," she said, "not a threat. We're not here to change other civilizations. We're here to help them change themselves." As the conference concluded, something unprecedented happened. Representatives from multiple star systems began discussing collaborative research initiatives. Technological exchange programs were proposed. Communication networks were established that transcended traditional political boundaries. The stars would never look the same again. Humanity had done more than introduce advanced technology. They had reimagined the very concept of interstellar cooperation. A new chapter in galactic history had begun. The observation deck of the Interstellar Research Station offered an unparalleled view of the cosmos. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood gazing at the star-filled expanse, reflecting on the profound journey that had brought humanity to this moment. What had begun as a simple quest for survival had transformed into something far more significant, a fundamental reimagining of humanity's place in the universe. 50 years had passed since the technological revolution that had reshaped galactic understanding. The starship design that once seemed impossible was now a collaborative template studied by civilizations across multiple star systems. Humanity had done more than introduce advanced technology. They had presented a new philosophical approach to existence itself. Dr. Michael Chen approached, bringing 2 cups of synthesized coffee, a small ritual that remained unchanged despite humanity's incredible technological advances. "The Zornak research team is preparing their latest collaborative report," he said, a hint of amusement in his voice. "They're still struggling to understand how we think." The transformation had been profound and multifaceted. Humanity's approach to technology had become a model of adaptive, collaborative development. Where other civilizations saw boundaries, humans saw opportunities. Where traditional scientific approaches sought to control, humans sought to understand and collaborate. The space station itself was a testament to this new approach. Constructed through a collaborative effort involving 12 different starfaring civilizations, it represented the pinnacle of collective technological innovation. Each section bore the unique technological signature of its contributing species, yet worked together with a seamless efficiency that would have been impossible just decades earlier. It was never about the technology, Elena reflected, her gaze still fixed on the stars. It was about perspective, about seeing challenges as opportunities for collective growth. The medical technologies developed through human-led research had transformed entire planetary ecosystems. Adaptive treatment systems could now address genetic challenges across multiple species. Planetary infrastructure technologies had turned previously uninhabitable worlds into thriving ecosystems. Communication networks that transcended traditional linguistic and cultural barriers had become the new standard. The quantum-encrypted communication systems first developed for starship networks now connected civilizations in ways that seemed like magic to previous generations. A holographic notification appeared, displaying the latest collaborative research initiative. Representatives from the Krulvax Dominion, once humanity's most significant military threat, were now working alongside human scientists on deep space exploration technologies. "Remember when they thought we were just another species to be conquered?" Michael chuckled, reviewing the research proposal. Elena smiled. The true revolution hadn't been technological. It had been philosophical. Humanity had introduced a fundamental approach that saw existence as a collaborative, adaptive process. Technology wasn't a weapon or a tool of control, but a means of understanding and growth. The station's central computational core, a marvel of collaborative design, processed millions of research initiatives simultaneously. Each breakthrough was instantly shared across multiple research networks, breaking down the traditional barriers of scientific development. "We didn't change the universe," Elena said softly. "We changed how we look at the universe." Outside the observation deck, a new generation of adaptive starships prepared for exploration. Each vessel was less a machine and more a living ecosystem of technological potential. They represented humanity's greatest legacy, not conquest, but connection. The research station's communication systems hummed with activity. Collaborative projects spanning multiple star systems, addressing challenges from planetary ecology to deep space exploration. What had once seemed like insurmountable obstacles were now opportunities for collective problem-solving. Dr. Chen activated a holographic display showing the current state of interstellar cooperation. The visualization was a complex, ever-changing network of connections, each line representing a collaborative research initiative, each node a participating civilization. "We're still learning," he said, more to himself than to Elena. As the stars continued their ancient dance outside, humanity's greatest achievement became clear. They had not conquered the universe. They had learned to dance with it. A new horizon of possibility stretched out before them, infinite, interconnected, full of wonder.